All right, welcome in Cube Show Podcast, college football podcast that comes to you each and every Sunday. Probably going to be Mondays for the next few weeks until we get some of these games down. 15 games this week. We did thankfully get Kentucky and South Carolina, which put one down just a little bit and made it somewhat easier. But, man, this thing's been a task getting these done on Sunday. Been up late, had some travel issues, missed a connection in Dallas, headed to Oklahoma City over the weekend. My crew was in Norman for the Oklahoma-Houston game, which really great time in Norman for my first college football experience there. I had been to Norman to help deliver the Joe Moore Award a couple of years ago, but had not been to a game, and it was awesome. It was loud. Sooner Schooner coming out, firing the guns all. I mean, it was incredible. Just a great atmosphere, great people. Appreciate Joe Castiglione. Appreciate Mark, the SID, and all the coaching staff. Great to see Bill Beedenbow. Great to catch up with Coach Venables. It was awesome. Had an awesome time. So we'll get to all that, as y'all know, each and every week, brought to you by Nicholls Pickles, wickedly delicious. Go find them in your grocery store. Go to Nicholls.com. Go to @Nicholls Pickles on Instagram. See how they use them. See what they do. And we snack with them. We make recipes. We got them going for all different kind of things. You need to try Nicholls Pickles. They are wickedly delicious, and we appreciate them sponsoring this show. So a lot to get to, so let's just roll right into it. We're going to go through what we saw in the film from each and every game. Let's just start with that Oklahoma game. And it's not what I expected going in. I thought Oklahoma would be in control of that one. And I knew that there were going to be some issues on the offensive line. Branson Hickman doesn't go, so that was a little bit different from the previous week. Garen Hatchett doesn't go. He's got torn bicep. Branson Hickman's got the ankle from the previous week. So you had to slide in and play Joshua Bates, who's got an elbow issue at center. So needless to say, you start moving all those pieces around on the offensive line, it's not going to be great. That continuity is not going to be there. The feel, the rhythm, the wherewithal. Also, these are all new guys as far as starting in Oklahoma uniforms anyway. Now you're asking different guys to do it together. And here's the really difficult part for you Oklahoma fans when you're talking about this offensive line specifically. And I said this on the broadcast. If this was, Drew Samia and Cody and all those guys from that Joe Moore Award-winning offensive line, Creed Humphrey and those dudes, you could just go sit them down, get them healthy, let them play, and then just move on. But these guys, they haven't had enough reps in general or together, so they need to practice. Well, when they practice, what happens? You're not fully healing. So this is going to take some time. I think there are some workarounds, but there are also some other things that need to happen with this offense. I thought Jackson Arnold was a little indecisive. And here's the thing. He's so good when he is decisive that it's easy to tell when he's not. And it's easy to tell when he's overthinking because he panics a little bit. Some of the movement in the pocket cannot continue. You can't run right into a rusher. You can't try to 360 circle all the way back out. Even if you turn it into a 6 or 7 yard gain on that play, that's not going to be consistent. It's not going to consistently happen. When he gets out of a mesh or he gets to the back of his drop and he knows where to go and boom, boom, he fires that football, velocity, confidence, you can tell a difference when he doesn't have that. A couple of things I think they can do. Move the pocket a little bit more. I think that'll help him. The run game's got to get going a little bit better. That will obviously help him. And they're seeing overpopulated boxes right now, which is one of the reasons they can't run the football. I think middle of the field could help him a little bit also. There are multiple plays that I watched with just a ton of green sitting there in the middle of the field and just nobody there, not even trying to take it. Well, defenses can focus in on that a little bit. They know what they're going to be able to do and not be able to do. I was most surprised by some of the lack of composure late in this game. I think Houston was talking a lot of trash, but hell, they went into Norman after looking terrible the previous week and probably nobody giving them a chance to even be competitive in this thing. And then you get a play that could help solidify the game and put the nail in the coffin. And you got, Billy Bowman, who's over there, kind of extracurricular activities. The guy would have never expected that to come from. And Kendall Dolby over there, like shoving a guy on the ground, getting into it, and they get a flag. Well, then fast forward to basically all you have to do is take a couple knees, game's over, and Joshua Bates is taking his helmet off, getting a flag. That kind of stuff can't happen. And this is a team that we've talked about, legitimate star power, Bowman, Stutzman, that you've got older guys that have been in this program forever. Like that's just, I would have never expected it from this football team. I think the offensive line can figure some things out. You had a great game from Jake Roberts, and what an amazing story. If you haven't heard the story from Jake Roberts.
All right, Oklahoma tight end Jake Roberts. You had
one of the 2 touchdowns today and a massive catch late in this game to essentially seal it. You went to high school 2.3 miles from here, Norman North. You didn't get the Oklahoma offer coming out.
No, sir.
Take me through the difference in your emotions then when you knew you weren't going to get it compared to tonight when you were making those plays.
I mean, it's just been a long journey, and I'm so thankful to just make it back home. And it's just nothing but God, man. It's just my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ has helped me to make it into this position. And tonight, just the emotions, I just knew I was going to be ready. My opportunity came, and I just was trying to help my team win. I mean, our defense just played their tails off, and I just tried to make plays when they came to me, and I'm just thankful to have the opportunity to do it back home.
When you think about where you are now, if 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old Jake was watching this, what would he be thinking?
He wouldn't believe me, probably. It's such a surreal feeling. I mean, it literally brings me to tears, like pulling up to the stadium and just seeing this and all these fans. I just remember when I was in their shoes. I was one of these little kids running around in a Sooner jersey, so just to be out here making plays, I'm truly blessed. I'm so thankful and excited to be here.
You told me before the game last week was a legitimate dream come true for you. Is this even better than last week?
Yeah, it was awesome. I'd like to win by a little more and it not be so nerve-wracking, but definitely a surreal experience to score in Memorial Stadium. I'm just so thankful, man. Shout out my teammates and the defense, and I'm so overcome with emotion right now. I'm just so excited.
Can't fake that smile. Congrats,
Yes,
Jake. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Yes, sir.
Man, this young man grew up in Norman. I pulled it up on my GPS. His high school is 2.1 miles from where we were standing, right there inside the stadium. Didn't get an Oklahoma offer. Plays for Seth Luttrell at North Texas. Has a couple other stops, and then he's ended up back here at Oklahoma. He gets a touchdown pass reception, and then he gets like one of the game-sealing catches over the middle of the field late in the game. Had some good blocks in this game as well. Like, he's their only true tight end. Bauer Sharp is still going to be a little bit of a liability trying to block people. He's not physical like that. Like, he can't do those things. But, man, Jake Roberts, I talked to him after the game. We'll plug it in here. You can hear it in just a second. Guys in tears, just how special this is. I talked to my guy, Gabe Eichert, who played at Oklahoma and does some of the radio stuff for them. And he said, he gave me a little tip that after the game last week, he told him that was literally a dream come true for him. So I had to follow up with that, asked him about that, just what it meant to him. Those are some of the stories we don't get enough of in college football anymore. And they're out there. We just got to find them. But, the walk-on or the guy that didn't get the offer, now he's able to come back, or you're just living out your dreams that you never thought would be possible at a place that means so much to you that you rooted for as a little boy. Like, that is incredible stuff. So I was glad to see him make some plays. And I think he can be a big help for the offensive line and protection in the run game, getting some things going. And then when the run game goes a little bit, like, he can be great in the play action game and some of the intermediate stuff, maybe work in the middle of the field just a little bit more. Bauer Sharp, a guy that should help be able to work the middle of the field just a little bit more. So I think there are some repairable things because Jackson's got a ton of talent. It's just, we all have to take a little bit of a step back here, including myself, because I got frustrated watching him operate in the pocket a little bit. We got to step back and just have the understanding of this kid hasn't started 4 games yet. He's young. He's barely seen live action. So he's going to make mistakes. Things are going to be new. Things are going to be different. And that's just going to be a part of it. So that's okay. I thought the offensive line held up pretty well. I thought the protection overall was pretty good. The run game needs to go a little bit more. But I thought defensively, man, I tell you, coming in this game, I was like, I can't wait to watch Billy Bowman live. He's going to blow me away. It's going to be so much fun. And he's awesome. Awesome human, great player. The things that coaching staff shared with us about him, it was cool to hear Coach Venables talking about Billy Bowman, saying that early in his career, his own expectation of himself was probably too high. So essentially saying he would let himself down a lot because what he wanted to be or expected to be was almost unattainable. But that's the kind of guy that he is. Like, that's what he has set out to do and be. It's one of the reasons he came back to Oklahoma. He's just an awesome kid, and I love watching him play football. But, folks, Danny Stutzman, good Lord, you can't fool him. Counter, power, zone, boot, whatever it is. Like, he is literally just waiting there for the play series after series after series, flying around, leadership on the sideline. I saw it. Danny Stutzman is everything that we thought he would be and that we've heard about. Also, a cool story with Stutzman. And we didn't talk about this with the radio communication. We all just talked about the offensive side of it and what would be better there and whatnot. But they were telling us that Zach Alley was telling us that Stutzman had to have they ordered new speakers because he couldn't hear. He played at home and was holding they taped his ears, his ear holes on his helmet, and he still couldn't hear. They had to order new speakers. Well, we didn't think about these defensive guys that are playing in Norman or Gainesville or Baton Rouge or Auburn or Austin that they're not going to be able to hear because their crowd's so loud. So just kind of a thing that I don't think I considered and I didn't think about. I tell you who else I love on this defense, Kendall Dolby. Man, you talk about a guy put their body on the line, flies around. He'll come up and take on a blocker. He'll come up and blow up a screen. Like that young man, I think he's one of the better football players on that team, and just not a lot of people talk about him. Defensively, did not get the one-on-one pass rush wins in this game that they did the previous week. Some of that was I think they were a little more static than they were a week ago. They moved a lot week one. And Zach Alley kind of told us, hey, that's what we're going to be. I mean, we're going to be a defense that's aggressive, that moves. He said, I think if you're stationary, then you're just asking for it. Like we're not going to be that kind of a group. He said he wants to move them and wants to be, a defense that is constantly forcing those targets to be in different places. But I thought Dominic Williams had a good game. Jaden Jackson did some good things. Grayson Halton had a really nice game for Oklahoma. He got the safety. I don't think he was blocked on that play, but still, he made the play. But he did some other good things. Peyton Bowen and those guys, like they've got a really good defense. I think they're going to be able to lean on it. I think they can lean on it. The problem is, a couple weeks, you get against a team like Tennessee, you could have a great performance and they score 21, 24 points. And you got to go match that, and you got to go past that. And that's where the offense has got to find a way to catch up here in the next few weeks. Also, this week, Tulane, be careful. John Summerall's team, they ain't backing down from anybody. And that's one thing that Houston did in this game that I don't think a lot of us saw on film. They matched the physicality that Oklahoma brought, and that's why it made it difficult to win. Now, you got Donovan Smith, veteran quarterback. You got a couple transfers in at receiver and linebacker and defensive line, like 92 for Houston. That kid, he might play in the league. Carlos Allen, really good player. Keith Cooper Jr., edge defender, good chance to play in the league. 44, Michael Batten, transfer from La Monroe. They say he's the fastest player on the football team at linebacker. So different guys in spots that can make some plays. And obviously they were tough to deal with, and they made it tough to deal with. But either way, I think there's a lot to be happy about. A lot of things that can be repaired, that can be fixed. I saw pretty good effort across the board. It's just some of that offense, and this is similar to other offenses like Auburn, like Tennessee at times, like they're going to be sort of hit and miss. If it's not clicking, if you can't get in the rhythm, that's why they want that tempo after the first down sometimes. It's going to be tough to just make it go. Like these are not grinded out offenses a lot of the times. Now, Tennessee's might be, we'll talk about that one in a minute. Let's roll to that one. Tennessee, man, NC State, I may have been wrong on Grayson McCall. I can admit that. I can throw that out there. That's one that I probably thought was going to be a little bit better than it has been. But what an impressive win. 51-10, Tennessee gets to 2-0. Dylan Sampson, 132, 2 touchdowns, third straight 100-yard game. Preseason, we talked about it. This is a guy they have to have healthy. They don't have another one like him. They just don't. He's special. He's explosive. He can give you explosive plays. He can go to the distance from anywhere on the field. This is where he separated himself. When you watch Tennessee this weekend against Kent State, we'll be on the call for that game. We'll be in Knoxville. I'm excited to go. He'll probably get 2 or 3 series. Watch how he presses the line of scrimmage. Watch how he presses his blocks. I mean, he'll have a pulling tackle, and I mean, he's hugging the rear end, and then it's last minute, boom, cut and go. He makes defenders wrong. He is a offensive lineman, tight end, whoever's blocking for him, best friend. And then on top of that, he can freaking go. So he's got real juice. The other part, and if you've watched the show, you know where I'm going, that really unlocks this offense, it's not receiver, it's not quarterback, it's the tight end position. And they got a couple that are playing really good football right now. Really enjoyed watching not only what the tight ends did blocking in this game, but Holden Stays, Miles Kitzelman, both really good. Zero did some good stuff. It's how Josh is using them right now. So you get a tight end lined up as kind of, the wing, and it's the Y. and they'll get the insert inside. Then they'll get the split zone across. And then you saw the fake, the Kitzelman for the touchdown. Like, that safety was flying down. We talked about it on Read and React tonight. The safety was flying down play after play after play. Boom, you're going to be able to hit that. Like, I mean, that's different kind of stuff. Like, that's what's going to be able to get you winning games and making you almost impossible to defend. I'm trying to get to a couple notes that I wrote down because I don't want to forget anything about this game. But I mean, it was some clinic stuff by Tennessee offensively, and the tight end position was huge. The thing also that I liked is this football team scored in about every way imaginable. I mean, you had a defensive score. I think you had a special team score. You had a play action for a score. You scored on power. You scored on quarterback draw. You scored on a scramble drill, and you scored on that bootleg to the tight end. Like, quarterback draw, scramble drill, power, design run, and boot to tight end. And then your defense gets you points. Like, that's big time stuff, man. Like, think about that. Like, how hard you are to defend when you can get the ball to the end zone that many different ways. John Campbell, great at right tackle. The block that he had out of bounds with Spraggins was unbelievable. The right side. That's on a pass play, by the way. They both did a good job pulling. Dane Davis came in, did some good things. Cooper Mays had a good game. Really thought left tackle had one of his best games. Hurd, transfer from LSU, like, did some really nice things. But those tight ends unlocked it, man. Like, they did some really, really good things. And also Dylan Sampson in pass pro was really nice. Did some good things. Now, it doesn't mean that there weren't some breakdowns. I think traditional pass sets can still be a little bit of an issue. Like, Spraggins can get a little bit out of control. Lance Hurd had one where he got beat on. I think quarterback a little bit more off than we've seen him. Like, I thought Nico missed a couple of throws. There was an out route that he missed. Sometimes that pass protection wasn't super clean. But, 87, 0, those guys unlock it, man. And, like, they allow them to do a lot of different things. And I thought quarterback still, the one pick was tipped. I'm not mad at that. I'm not going to worry about that. But all in all, like, your offensive line played really physical football. They brought the fight, and your defensive line was out of control. Out of control. 55 was like a bowling ball. 20, 21 in the backfield. Even, like, multiple guys that we don't talk a lot about, like 97 was tossing guys around on the edge. Keenan Peely was knifing through, making plays, had a great block on the interception, by the way, hustling down the field. Some of the bigger bodies lined up outside. So, like, we all know about the pass rushers that are here, but the interior guys are the ones that were making some things happen in this game. And there was a gadget formation that got them. There's a couple misdirections that got them, but very rarely was it just kind of a straight up play where NC State just beat them. It was all trying to fool them somewhere or another, get somebody out of position, and that's how they would go find their yards. So I thought all around it was a hell of a game by Tennessee. I was impressed. Linebacker 39 came in late and did some good things. Like, he was flying around. I don't think he wears any gloves, and he was making plays, ripping guys to the ground. So offense and defensive line. That's what we said going into the season, that this team maybe could be really different and could allow them to sort of separate, and looks like they did, and that's why they got that win. Hey, guys, I want to tell you about Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks' easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Want to play Prize Picks alongside Drewski, Joe Budden, or other celebrities? You can find Community Plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in Prize Picks community each and every week. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money, or even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Now listen, I've played Prize Picks, fun, interesting, player and stat types I like to select are always going to be there. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CUBE, C-U-B-E. Get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code CUBE, C-U-B-E, on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. Don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks.com. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, so Alabama finds a way to get past South Florida. I say finds a way because, that was one that I don't think any of us expected to be like that, to go like that. And here we go, that this game is, a one-score game with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. First off, South Florida's got some dogs on that front seven. Linebacker 6, he and Parker Brailsford, that was a freaking UFC fight in that game. Like they might as well have been in the octagon. They were battling. It was fun to watch. And I thought Brailsford played his ass off. He played a very good football game. He was physical. He fought. Seeing Tyler Booker kick out to tackle and being able to handle that the way that he did, beyond impressive. Beyond impressive. Like, that's not easy to do, guys, especially with a defense that has athletes up front, athletes out on the edge, and they're going to twist them and slant them and bring different pressures from different places. I saw a little bit of confusion on some pressures for Alabama. There was a double-edge pressure one time where both guys come running free. Like, that can't happen. And I don't know if it's on the quarterback. I don't know if it's on the center. I don't know if it's on the back going the wrong way, whatever it is. There was one time where the back and center both came off on the same linebacker. Like, that's got to get cleaned up, because you're going to run into some defensive lines and some front sevens over the next few weeks. They're going to be able to be a problem and can give you similar looks and do similar things. The physicality of the offensive line I thought was a little bit better. Formby, he struggled at right tackle. I don't know another way to say that and be nice about it. Right guard is going to give you great effort. He got overextended once or twice. But all in all, he'll get out in space and try to clean you up. And hell, he knocked his own ball carrier down one time. He's out there trying to track somebody down. Left guard, Vandermark did some good things, had some struggles. But going back to what I said about the Oklahoma group, think about this now. We've never seen Booker in a game at tackle. We've never seen Vandermark really in meaningful playing time. Brailsford just got to Alabama a couple months ago. Roberts has been dinged up, so he's been in and out. And Formby is not a regular starter. He had to be plugged in for Proctor, who got hurt before the game. So, Pritchett came in and did some good things. He helped a little bit. But please don't be the guy that says Pritchard came in and all of a sudden he's the one that made the offense go. First block, his guy comes off late. Second block, he gets up and walls the linebacker a little bit. He was fine. But it's not like Orlando Pace all of a sudden came in and that's the reason they moved the football. They moved the football because collectively they executed, and the defense either overran it or came underneath a couple of plays, and they were able to make them pay. And they were able to make them pay with a running back that's got real juice. Like, Jam Miller can go. And he can create, he can make you miss, explosive ability to get to the open field. He can hit home runs. Justice Hayden's big run late. They are starting to look like who a lot of people thought they were. And we didn't really know coming in. I thought Robbie Utes had a really good game. Robbie Utes busted his ass, blocked hard. CJ Dupree had one nice block out on the perimeter. You'll see it in the block party tonight on Read and React, 6 p.m. Central, Monday nights on the SEC Network. But I thought some of the other tight ends had some letdown plays, pass protection in the run game where it didn't allow things to get going. So it's not always just on the offensive line. I thought quarterback did some good things. I thought quarterback missed some things. Deep throws, obviously he's going to continue to take those shots. Sometimes they're going to be there. Ryan Williams, exceptional, unbelievable. Guys, ridiculous. There's a couple kids in this league right now that just don't look like true freshmen that are true freshmen playing football. He's one of them. Defensively, I do think some of the coverage stuff was better than I expected, because this is a group that's just going to get you out of place. They're going to widen you sideline to sideline. They're going to take advantage of different things. I thought Tim Keenum played really well inside. I thought linebackers looked fast again still. Quarterback run was a problem. Some of that by design, some of that leaving the pocket. So rush lane integrity was a little bit of an issue at time for Alabama's defense. That's got to be cleaned up. But you got some new guys on the edge. You're playing some younger guys out there. So that's something that'll continue to come on. Offensively, there was some slide protection where they had leakage in. And I know that you guys all know that I think that that's our nation's epidemic right now. But you go slide protection, you can't have guys coming through the A gaps or the B gaps. That's impossible. That should never take place. Good news is a lot of these things can get cleaned up. A lot of these things can be improved. And I think what Alabama showed us is that they have the ability to turn it on and step on the gas. And they have better talent than a lot of people they're going to take the field against. Now, you get against Georgia or teams like that, you're not going to be able to go out there and just lean on your talent and throw it up and make a play, or run around and make a play, and all of a sudden that's going to be the end of it. So some of this stuff can improve, can come together. They just need 5 offensive linemen to practice and play together for a little while and therefore have a chance to go out there and get better. I think a lot of these offensive lines, we're going to be saying totally different things about these teams at the end of the season than we're saying right now. Milrow, 16 of 26, 2 touchdowns, 194. Jam Miller, 15 for 140 and a touchdown. He was fantastic. And Milrow running the ball, you saw that on the perimeter. They're gonna live with that. That's gonna be something that's gonna be a regular part of what they do. We knew that coming in, and now you're kind of seeing it in games. Ole Miss knocks off Middle Tennessee 52-30. Jackson Dart setting records like 24 straight to start the game completed, 30 straight, now an SEC record. He's literally been out of his mind. Like literally out of his mind. 25 of 27 in this game, 377. I don't think he played in the second half. He is 37 of 42. That's 88%, by the way. 641 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks in the first half of 2 games. That's dumb. They outrushed Middle Tennessee 258-28. Henry Parrish got going, 14 for 165, 4 rushing touchdowns. The offensive line is showing some physicality. Kind of like what we thought. Kids that they brought in from Washington, helping get a little extra push. I think having multiple capable bodies on the bench has probably helped this group more than anything, because you're seeing a little extra finish, you're seeing a little extra gusto. Like guys are going out there and wanting to try to earn it, it appears. Chris Paul Jr. on defense, Princely Umalayan on defense, like those are 2 big ads. You got some twitch off the edge, helping make a difference. Chris Paul cleaning a lot of things up at linebacker. He's physical. Buddy can get sideline to sideline. He made some plays in the game. Ole Miss gets to 2-0. Honestly, Middle Tennessee, not a force to be reckoned with. I don't know why we should spend a ton of time on it, other than to tell you Trey Harris is ridiculous. Juice Wells out there making plays again. So Ole Miss is 2-0. It's going to be a couple weeks before we really learn about that football team. I will tell you about Blue Delta jeans, though. Blue Delta jeans, the most comfortable pair of jeans you'll ever wear. Stretchy, flexible, breathable. I love Blue Delta jeans. I'm actually wearing them right now. Read and React. You'll see them each and every week. Go to BlueDeltaJeans.com. You can order some. They can fit you digitally, so you can do it right there at your house, and they'll ship them to you. And you will not regret it. You won't want another pair of jeans ever. So if you got a birthday coming up, Christmas right around the corner, gift certificate for Blue Delta jeans, you can do that and make that happen. Auburn goes down to Cal 21-14. Parts of this game just gross. I don't know another way to say it. Peyton Thorne, 14-27, 165, 1 touchdown, 4 picks. He rushed 16 times for 43 yards. This is where we need to have like one of those come to Jesus conversations. Is Peyton Thorne the guy? It depends on your definition of the guy. If you're saying the guy as in can go out and win games for Auburn, like as in put the team on his back, no, he's never going to be that guy. He's not. Pass pro was bad. It wasn't good. Tackles got beat right out of the gate a couple times. Right guard gets smoked one time around the edge. Like left tackle, multiple breakdowns. Just can't happen. You can't. I mean, people are talking about the 4 interceptions, which is never acceptable, ever. Last one, 28 seconds left. He's pushing, he's trying to make a play. What? Okay. He got hit on 2 of these. So, I mean, I can't be that mad at him if he's getting hit and the ball's fluttering out there and it gets picked off. Now, did he make great decisions the whole game? No. But it's more mind-boggling to me to see the first 6 or 7 throws be right on the money and be super clean, and then all of a sudden, it just goes to shit out of nowhere. And I think that's a problem that Hugh Freeze is having, because he said in his press conference today, like he sees things in practice, he looks great, and then all of a sudden the game is like inexplicable. So it's tough to watch sometimes. The other part that's tough to watch is Jarquez Hunter touching the ball 12 times. I do believe deep in my heart that there is a little bit of attempting to keep the individual receivers happy, to keep the fan base happy, and to kind of prove that this is different. It's here. It's arrived. It's changed. All of that can be okay, but you still have to go out and coach and execute and play to win the game. No one should be more concerned with stats or touches or things like that than actually winning the game. Jarquez Hunter was giving you opportunities to win the game. And I feel like they got away from it a little bit. I felt like he was a guy that, if given opportunities, could help Auburn win the game. I wrote this one thing down that I wanted to share, and I don't know exactly where it is. All right, so he started the drive on 5 of 14 drives. He got the first touch. 7, 6, -1, 7, and 1. So that's 4 yards of carry to open drives. 12 touches, or 13 touches, he caught a pass. So he had 5.7 per carry. The box was stacked sometimes. Okay, so throw your way out of that. Cool. Quarterback, keep it run if they're not going to defend it right. Fine. Overload one side. Go do it. But he's too good of a player to not ride, more importantly, allow to help open up all the other things that you do. I thought the tight ends had a bad game. Didn't think they blocked well. I just didn't. I thought the receivers gave piss poor effort on a couple of routes when they weren't getting the football. And that's not something that a lot of people are going to talk about. So the real problem here, and Greg and I talked about this last week, was that the defense was going to get a bigger test than the offense. And the defense could not consistently get to the quarterback. Part of that was the ball coming out on time, the ball coming out quickly. I mean, there's not a lot you can do about that. But you had to make some adjustments from a coverage standpoint to be able to try to knock balls down or try to get guys to the ground a little bit earlier. I thought Auburn got guys to the ground a little bit early, but then that just kind of faded as the game went on. And you let a team like that hang, that's well coached, that plays hard, that added a couple vets that have played a lot of college football in the portal, and this is what happens. You get beat. So, defensively, did a lot of guys stick out? No, Jalen McLeod had a couple good pass rush moments. Keontae Scott did a couple of good things, but it's like nothing was like super wow, except off the edge. And you've got a real player off the edge. But I don't know if you're just going to be able to lean on him all the time as to going out there and just dominating games and shutting your opponents down. But he uses his length extremely well, has a good knack for getting to the quarterback, and plays the run much better than a year ago. But I just don't know if that is going to be what Auburn's defense can lean on. Got to find a way to get ball carriers to the ground and get the ball to the ground if you're not going to be able to get to the quarterback. Nonetheless, it's an ugly loss because it's one that they needed. It's one that I feel like they could have had, but just didn't make enough plays and then got a little bit desperate late, and it turns into a loss. So, Cam Coleman touches it twice. Keandre Lambert-Smith, 2 for 30. Fairweather, 2 for 23. Lewis, 2 for 17. They spread it around, but just not enough to be able to get a win. Massive win for South Carolina over Kentucky, 31-6. South Carolina gets to 2-0. Not a lot of people saw this coming because they didn't look great last week against Old Dominion. Lenore Sellers, 11-15, 159, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Kentucky had 11 flags. Brock Vandegrift, 3 of 10, 30 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. So Gavin Wimsatt comes in late. He goes 3 of 7, rushes 6 times for 44 yards. The first time that South Carolina has opened SEC play with 2 wins since 2017. We can talk about Lenore Sellers, the offensive line still not being great. We can talk about the tight ends helping in block. They did a really cool thing with Joshua Simon where they brought him over and lined him up as an H-back, but in the A gap, like a little sniffer almost, where he would help with Deion Walker. And he had him by himself a couple times. Did a nice job with it. Joshua Simon's look like he's ended up being a really valuable player for South Carolina this year. Still can't consistently run the football. But I do think you saw parts of Sellers' game sort of growing up a little bit here because he made some smart plays late, and I think he understood where they were in the game, and that shows me growth as a quarterback. All that being said, and I do think South Carolina needs playmakers on the perimeter. I don't know who those are going to be right now. I just don't know if they have those guys. Freshman tight end is going to help him a bunch. 20, he's going to play. He's going to be a player. But this game was won on defense. And the name that everybody needs to know, if you don't already, is Dylan Stewart, 6 off the edge for South Carolina. You talk about advanced set of skills for a true freshman. He's in Ryan Williams' category as an edge defender. He's got a SWAT, dip and rip, flexibility that is uncanny at that position. He's got great get off. He had these tackles turning their hips and leaning and reaching for him. There's one play that he runs through the tight end, then the back, and then sprints the quarterback down from behind. Quarterback had about a 5-yard head start, and he takes him down. He is an impressive young player. On top of that, you add him with a veteran on the other edge and Gil Bradman that you got back. You've got Boogie Huntley inside. You've got Sanders inside who can make plays. Tonka Hemingway inside who can make plays. They can roll all in Big 99, the transfer that they got in, he was a force inside. He made some things happen. So you're talking, they got 5, 6 D tackles that they can roll. Now you got multiple edge defenders that can be a problem. Zero's flying around there making plays. Even the Warriors running around there making plays. I thought maybe the most impressive guy that I saw in the game was Vakari Swain. 4. Comes up, blows up a screen, runs right through the blocker. Another play coming up, plays the run in the backfield. Like physically for a corner, did some amazing things. I was really impressed with his game. O'Donnell Fortune, same thing, coming up, making plays at the line of scrimmage, physicality, not backing down. It was just that. Here's the scary part about it for Kentucky, because we got to talk about this game from both sides. Kentucky averaged 5.2 yards per carry between the tackles, 3.2 yards per carry outside the tackles in this game. I don't know. Offense is art, and calling plays is an art and a skill that I don't think I would ever have. But it has to marry up, and it has to work together. And I do understand that situations in games call for different things. Like those coaches talk to the guys, they see the guys, they know more than any of us what's happening. But they were running the football between the tackles. It was there. It was happening. I've watched it multiple times. Saw it. Boom. Duo. Go. Inside zone. Go. And you have a nice run over off the left side, and 2nd and 6, and you're running the jet sweep. And it's like a tackle for 5-yard loss. And now you're putting your quarterback in a bad spot because you can't protect him. So I felt like they got further and further away as the game went on. And Demi Sumo Kamari was like, I mean, he was ripping it. He was getting it going. He had it going. Jordan Dingle was doing a pretty good job in run blocking. Like Caddis was in there getting after it. And then all of a sudden it's perimeter stuff again. Quick throw, quarterback read, longer developing plays. And it was a little frustrating to watch. And listen, I'm not going to back off what I said about Bush. I think he's a great play caller. I think he's a great OC. I think he's going to be great. But now they got some quarterback issues, and they got to try to figure that out. I know last week when we had them, they wanted to play the transfer, said they were going to play the transfer, and they didn't finish the game, so Wimsatt didn't get a chance to play a whole lot, but there are aspects of his game that they really like. So don't be surprised if you see him more often. But man, there are not many times that a Mark Stoops coach football team is out-physicaled and gives less intensity. And that happened in this game. Bottom line. Defensively, I thought Deion Walker did some good things. At times, there were other times that just lose contain. Different coverages in zone, not necessarily there. And overall physicality wasn't where it needed to be, wasn't where it usually is. The offensive line, now listen, you had an injury, you had to move some guys around, 52 kicks out, didn't fare well at tackle. But you had other guys that were beat. I thought Eli Cox gave great effort. I thought Marquez Cox had good effort, but it's like we talked about last week. Executional effort has to be there, and it didn't feel like it was there for Kentucky. So South Carolina gets a huge win. One of the bigger wins that Shane Beamer has had as the head coach at South Carolina. South Carolina has 10 sacks through 2 games. That's the most through 2 games in the last 20 years of Gamecock football. I think they had 21 last year. So they're like almost halfway to where they were last year. Pretty impressive stuff. Mizzou takes out Buffalo 38-0. 41 carries, 235 yards on the ground. Brady Cook, 28-36. I thought he was in control. He showed good command. He was deliberate with where he wanted to throw the football. When he set up and threw it, he could drive the ball well. No touchdowns. He did have the 1 pick. He carried the ball 5 times for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had the one flip into the end zone on the long run. Theo Weiss, 13 for 149. Luther Burden gets dinged up in this game. I don't think it's going to be long-term. But what I liked about this game was specifically at right tackle, offensive line looked great in the run game. In pass protection, multiple breakdowns against twists, both right and left side. There's 3-man games gave them problems. They got to clean that up. Trading off just a tackle in twist is not difficult. You work that every day in pass pro. You go down there and you have 10 minutes of one-on-one pass pro. You work that every day. You do all your one-on-ones, and then you work your games. It's not hard. And they can do it. They can execute it, but they're a little sloppy with that, and that's got to get cleaned up. Thought Marcus Carroll, Nate Noel looked great. Just a really good feel for the stretch, especially Nate. Nate looks like he's gliding, man. Like, he literally looks like he's on wheels when he's running the football, running that stretch play in this offense. Just such a good feel. Like, you'll watch it and it's going. And all of a sudden you're like, man, he's going to run out of space. Find a little crease, cut back, get north and south. And like, man, there goes 8 yards, 14 yards. It's incredible. Those two guys look fantastic. Defensively, Chris McClellan, Johnny Walker stuck out. I'm going to tell you, number one at safety, Burks, that kid can get it. Had a pick in this game, had a couple big hits last game. And I will say this one more time. My biggest question about the Missouri defense was that secondary, being physical, getting ball carriers to the ground quickly. They are doing that again. That has not fallen off at all. The linebackers can freaking move. They can fly around. And defensive line's got enough guys right now that can penetrate and disrupt. So Mizzou gets a 2-0, handled their business, did what they were supposed to do. Not a lot else to talk about there as they knock off Buffalo. Florida gets past Samford, 45-7. Now, this is an interesting game because you needed that bounce back, okay? You needed to show, hey, we're not going to sulk. We're not going to let this affect us for multiple games. What happened against Miami, I'm saying. Your quarterback's going to be out. Here comes DJ Lagway. Oh, boy. 18 of 25, 456, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Now, you're playing an FCS team, so let's not go Roman Harper here and go off the rails and immediately say that he's the starter, there's no competition, and all problems are solved. It's like Hugh Freeze said about his quarterback in his press conference today. Peyton Thorne's still the best quarterback on this roster. They see him at practice. They know what they can handle. They know what they can manage. Now, having said all of that, are there situations where certain guys are just gamers? Yes, I've seen it. Everybody who's played football has probably seen it. Kid looks like shit in practice. He gets in the game. Where did that come from? 9 catches for 180, or he threw for 320? What? The guy couldn't complete an out route in practice. It happens. It's possible. And I'm not saying that's to even be applicable really to Lagway, but when you're talking about running the offense, operating the offense, understanding all the defenses, the different looks, the things that are going to happen, receivers are not going to be that wide open. Pass rush is going to be a little bit better with teams that you're going to face off against. And I will say this, the offensive line, a little bit sluggish, specifically in the run game. Trayvon Ball's got a hold on the football. Montreal couldn't really get going the way that I thought he would in this game. Now, you talk about Eugene Wilson, explosive. Elijah Badger, that's the dude I saw on film at Arizona State that we saw in this game. Like, he can be a legit playmaker. Okay, so you got 2 now. Can you build off that? And maybe Lagway at least gives you more packages or more of a threat when he were to come in if you maintain things moving forward. I don't think that you sit Graham Mertz right now. I think you keep bringing Lagway on, give him more meaningful reps, and then with that, if he works his way in, cool, go with it. He can be your guy because he makes you more capable. There's no doubt about that. Guys, there were 2 balls that he pushed down the field, and I'm sitting there like, holy hell. I think I rerun them 15 times just because it was unbelievable, like the velocity and the ball being that low off the ground. And I'm not saying it was like 2 feet off the ground, but like 10, 12 feet off the ground that far down the field. Impressive stuff. Like, this kid's got big-time tools. But I just don't think you just say, it's over, he's our guy moving forward because of what you did against Samford. Love Coach Hatch, love Samford, kids play hard. I'll give that Florida defense credit. That's air raid offense. It's very different. It's tough. You got a quarterback that's been in it for a little bit, and you handled your business. I thought Tyreek Sapp did some good things. I thought the defense hustled. Thought they played fast, which in a game like this, that's what I want to see. Bounce back, show me you're still interested, show me some real intensity, and show me you know what you've been coached to defend all week long. They did that. They handled their business, 45-7. We'll keep our eyes on the Lagway quarterback situation moving forward. If it's me, I don't make that move right now. I wait on that move just a little bit. So we move on to Texas and Michigan. Massive game, massive scene, massive opportunity for Texas to go up and get a win that's going to propel them into very special places. And they did it. And boy, did they ever. What did I like most about this game? Probably what I'm going to tell you I liked about a lot of other games this week. Physicality. First play out of the gate, they kind of run this little duo toss crack. So they fake duo downhill run, toss, receiver comes and cracks, and you're kind of like, okay, what I thought Sark might do, attack the perimeter early. All right, so they wanted to get those D tackles running, and it worked. He bludgeoned the outside early, and it got Mason and those guys running, and I think it wore them down because you did not see them in as much as you thought you would late in that game. And when they weren't in, it was different. It was really different. Kelvin Banks, big-time game. Texas offensive line in general, big-time game. I thought the hold on the right tackle was total BS. And from my understanding is that the officials are looking at separation. When there's separation between the two defenders, if there's not a detachment by the offensive lineman, they're going to call it, which the hands were inside the breastplate. Like, to me, that's never been a hold, ever. If your hands are inside, you're good. We're going to go. And the right tackle dumps him as Quinn's rolling to his right, like literally, bam. It's not like he prevented him from making the tackle. He threw him on his ass. I don't know how that's a hold, but, I mean, I'm a former offensive lineman, so maybe that's why. I thought Quinn Ewers put on display why he is the Texas quarterback this year. How he did some things inside this offense in this game, you see why Sark likes him so much. Changing the arm angles, the quick distribution, on accuracy on the run, the bootleg rolling left. I mean, he puts that ball right where it has to be. I know the coverage is not super tight, but he put the ball where the DB had no chance to make a play. Touchdown. The touchdown pass that got called back. It's a heck of a play on the move. There's one where he gets a little bit of pressure. I tweeted this throw out at Cole Cubelic if you want to find it. From his back, he has to kind of step up to the right. He's off his feet, and he got to get rid of it quick because he sees it late, and he just poop over the tight end. He layers it over the tight end right into his tight end's hands. It's just a beautiful play. Quinn Ewers in this game, you talk about being clutch. Like, the overall numbers are not like, Joe Burrow gaudy in a couple of big games. 24, 36, 246, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. However, on third down, Texas was 10 of 16 on third down. Quinn Ewers was 6 of 9, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns on third down. That's how you go kick somebody's ass in their own house. And I thought Quinn managed things well. He got hit hard a couple of times, bounced right back up against a super physical defense that you knew was going to come after him. And there were a lot of times when he knew that pressure was coming and he got the ball out, he got it out on time, and he got it out in an accurate manner. On the move, under duress, quick distribution, he can do all those things extremely well. And he can manipulate the ball in a lot of different ways that some other quarterbacks just can't do. That's it. And sometimes you don't like the sidearm delivery or whatever, or it kind of looks lackadaisical. And there was a deep ball that he missed. There's a couple throws that just, he was a little bit off. But all in all, I thought how he orchestrated things was the main reason Texas got this win. Now, physically up front, like Bill Norton, another good game. 11's going to be a star for that Texas defense. Like, he did some really nice things in this game. The D tackle group, 45 and those guys, like they can play. Like, that's not going to be a huge drop-off. It's not what it was last year, but it doesn't have to be. Because now you saw some of the edge rushers that Texas showed off in this game, they're going to make that defense a little bit different. I thought linebacker as well, like 33, he came to play. Downhill, bopping a guard on his rear end early, flying around making plays, like disrupting. 8 off the edge, bull rush, runs over the right tackle. I thought 91 did a good job setting the edge for the Texas defense. 45, I mentioned, was tough inside. 0 off the edge did some good things. 88's another D tackle that is a little bit kind of a tweener, can kind of go back and forth. And then 11 had 2 nice rushes off. The right tackle for Michigan had a long day. But some of that is because of what 8, 11, and 0 are capable of doing. So it was a really impressive performance. I think Texas continues to prove that at the line of scrimmage, they're going to be different than a lot of people think. And we saw in this game where I told you last week I was a little worried about the run game being a little bit too flowy, east and west. Now they can flow it and then hit it. And that's kind of – Sark is smarter than I am. And that was a lot of that was being set up, and a lot of that was brilliant on his part. And I give him a lot of credit for going up there to that environment and getting that win. LSU takes out Nicholls 44-21. LSU's 1-1. 21 for 64 on the ground for LSU. Now, Nuss was great. 27 to 37, 302, 6 touchdowns, no picks. There are some scary, nerve-wracking takeaways from this game. All right. So, number one, why are we not giving the ball to the running back? Just in general. Like, if I asked anybody right now, What is LSU's best asset? What is the strength of the football team? Some people might say Kyron Lacey. Guy's a friggin' alien. I get it. Okay, cool. Maybe, but if you have one receiver that's the strength of your entire football team, we can do some things to make it difficult for that to be what beats us on a week in, week out basis. Nussmeier, maybe. He's really good. He's proven so far that he's going to be a really good college quarterback. For me, the strength of that football team is the offensive line. And now we're 2 weeks in of not allowing that group to be the strength of your team. Now, they still had pass protection. Okay, I got to go do that. Got to help. Thought Mason Taylor was nice in this game. But 16 attempts by running backs in this game. 16. And this is a game she had control of late. So that means they didn't even do a lot of the heavy lifting to get you to being in control, which took a lot longer than people thought. Now, defensively, I'll say this. I thought Weeks played really well at linebacker. Played aggressive, played hard. Hated to see the news about Gilroy because I thought he was playing pretty good football. And he was like the only prototypical SEC-looking defensive tackle that they have. Not that some of the other guys don't play hard, not that some of the other guys can't do some good things, but like that's a lot of mass that's now gone from that defense. So that means you're probably going to be moving a little bit more. You're going to see some different alignment, some different pressures and stunts. It's okay. But I do think it's overall, and it's improved. Like you can see the Bo Davis effect on that group. Savion, I thought, did some nice things out on the edge. Perkins, I like seeing him in some different spots a little bit here and there. Like that's good. He showed some good physicality when he was up on the, close to the line of scrimmage. I'm not mad at the defense here. And I've had a couple people tell me, like, what's the problem, this, that, whatever. Go back and really watch that offense. They're really good at what they do, and it is tough, man. Like, it's essentially like defending triple option. All the fakes and the reads and the guys crossing paths and just different things, like visually very tough to defend. Am I making excuses? I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to explain to you what I saw and why they let some things get loose defensively. I'm not really worried about this football team other than the fact, like, are they going to be great on defense? No, I don't think so. Can they have some guys that can make some plays? Yeah, they got some guys that play hard. Like Penn plays hard. Yes. Okay. Like they'll be okay, but they're not going to be dominant. But they have the pieces offensively to be dominant. They do. But yet not allowing your most dominant piece to go out there and assert themselves is concerning to me. Maybe it's just, I just don't understand it. But this week, going into that environment, those guys better be ready. Because I'm going to tell you right now, and we don't do a ton of like preview look ahead on the show. If you are, I don't know what kind of fights you guys are interested in. Like when you watch UFC or boxing, like maybe you're into like Julio Cesar Chavez or Mayweather and you love the dancing around in the defense and guys that bob and weave and all that. I like heavyweights. Like when I was most into UFC, the heavyweight division was at its prime. I love watching Tyson Holyfield. I mean, I love watching Wilder Fury. Like that's what I want to see. And by God, LSU offensive line against South Carolina defensive line, you will get every bit of that this weekend. Tune in just for that. It will be worth the price of admission or worth your eyeballs on the television. I promise you. I can't wait to talk about it next week. All right, so LSU gets the win 44-21. Georgia 48-3 gets the win. All right, Tennessee Tech. There's not a ton of takeaway from this. Did see Drew Bobo get in and wallop that dude on the toss play where he pulled out. That was awesome. I can imagine Bobo in the booth seeing that, like how cool that had to be to watch that. I mean, planted the dude. Awesome block. I thought left guard had a good game. I thought right guard had a good game. I thought center had a pretty good game. I like some of the play calling early, like still trying to show different things, mix match. It's not just like, okay, let's run duo 12 times and get out of here. I do think the tight ends can help a little bit more from a blocking perspective. I thought Carson Beck, he had quick throws early. He was deliberate, but he decided to take his checkdowns, which I love about him. He's not afraid to sit there and take checkdowns all day. He'll do it. He doesn't mind. But he was a little bit off and then kind of picked it up a little bit later. You saw a little wing formation, the double wing formation that they have now. It's pretty cool. Get the tight ends involved in different ways. I'm anxious to see what Bobo's building to with that. That's going to be fun to watch. I thought 22 ran hard. 3 obviously got banged up. You saw the difference in this game with ETN and what they are and how much more explosive they can be, what they can be, and how they can be different. He's just that guy. Now, the concerns here. I mentioned tight ends, not great in the blocking game. The tackles are a little bit concerning right now. I'm just going to be honest with you. And I love Ernest Green. He gets out in space. He can be a monster. Pass protection was tested by Tennessee Tech. That can't happen. Normal twists, again, almost got home. Your quarterback has enough awareness to get the ball out. He shouldn't be touched in this game at all. Not against these edge defenders. And they tested them, and they won. They had some wins against this group. So technically and fundamentally, that's got to clean itself up for Georgia. It's the only thing that I left a little bit concerned about. 93 inside on defense, strike shed, great job. 93, I loved some of the things that he did on the defensive line. 29, still my guy, blasting people. Chambliss made some nice plays, ran over the tight end one time. 55, still doing some good things inside. He had a great game last week, another good game this week. I'm going to tell you right now, 11 is going to be a killer for this defense. Off the ball, on the ball, twists, pressure, stunts, pass rush, whatever. They're going to lie. He blitzes the A-gap one time, rushes off the edge one time. And he just seems to find a way to win, whatever they're asking him to do. Love watching that kid play football. 18 off the edge a little bit later in the game. Did some nice things. I like what he's going to bring to the table as well. But this was just a workmanlike win. Running clocks in the second half, 48-3, Georgia's 2-0. Great. And based on what we saw offensively from Kentucky last week, that's not really scary. A&M 52-10 against McNeese. A couple things I like here. Receivers seem to help the quarterback out a little bit more. Also, the quarterback seemed to find his calm a little bit. Thought Connor Wigman was a little bit more okay, a little more steady. Didn't seem like every ball had to be thrown 150 miles an hour. And that's one of the things with Quinn Ewers earlier that we talk about, the touch. And it's one of the things that Jackson Arnold actually does well. Because I think we talked about that after week 1. He understands how to change his velocity with different throws and different routes. And I do think that Connor Wigman found a little bit more of that this week. The offensive line's got a chance. I know I was a little hard on them last week, but I'll say this. There are a couple of guys in that group, Chase Basantis, Armaj Reed-Adams, and Crown over at right tackle, we can win with. We can win with those guys. It's a pretty good effort most of the time. A couple of them on the block party tonight. I've tweeted a few of them out. Finish downfield, looking for work at different moments in time. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And you got a running back that can go. So Colin Klein just needs to continue to sort of move those pieces around, find ways that he can win with what they've got, and continue to lean on the things that they're good at. But I do think a few more of those things showed up this week. And like we talked about after week 1, I know what happened to Notre Dame this weekend, but that was a really good front that you played. So you're not overly concerned about that. Why in the F do we have Greg McElroy's name on this podcast right now? I almost feel like somebody changed that intentionally and did that to me on purpose. And now it's going to distract you guys for the rest of the show. Unbelievable. Arkansas, Oklahoma State, 39-31. Some major takeaways in this game. Jaquindon Jackson's a big-time back. Taylon Green is a big-time quarterback. But these guys are still finding themselves. These guys are still learning how to be a team together. And they need to learn how to not lose a game before they can learn how to go win a game like this. Because you look at the guys who made plays late for Oklahoma State, vets, been around for a long time, older guys. Now, Alan Bowman doing the get the gap on the sidelines, I don't really get that. You should know better than that, and it almost cost your team the game. But look how sloppy things got down the stretch. Running back fumble snap, drop pass, which actually the last drop pass over on the sideline because of where the clock was, kept you in the game. If he catches that pass, I think the clock expires. The clock management down the stretch was atrocious. It was awful. I do think right guard gives you a chance to win. Your tight end, Lucas, is going to be incredible. He's a guy that can help you go win games. So Andrew Armstrong, awesome in this game. but it got sloppy late, and it can't. Not on the road against a talented football team. I thought for the most part the defense was really good against the run. You saw the depth hit them late. Like Xavier Story was flying around making some plays, but the defense faded late. And I think that was one of the bigger issues too. It just shows you like depth's going to be an issue for a lot of teams. You get in games like this, who are you leaning on? And I think that was a little bit of a problem for Arkansas in this one, but you had this game. You never want to lose a game. I'm never one of those guys that's like, take positives out of a loss. You lose. End of the day, done. But there are some things that you're going to be able to build on here. Like you've put some people on notice of what you're capable of moving forward. I thought Landon Jackson, great in this game. Did some good things up front defensively. But from a coverage perspective down the stretch, you had a couple of busts and a couple of losses. This thing got weird with some of the calls. It got weird with clock management. It was back and forth. It goes overtime, like the kicking game. So I understand it was a lot down the stretch, but this is one that more time together, more reps together, you learn how to go take. And maybe getting a little bit away from what you had early on prevented you from going and taking this game. But I almost came away feeling better about Arkansas. And I never say that there's a good loss. There's not. You lost the game. It can't be good. You lost. But I do think there are more positive takeaways for me. Maybe I can say this. That game allowed me to build more confidence in what Arkansas has a chance to be than maybe what I thought before. Because we saw Talon and Jaquin in game one. They were great. They were dynamic. But now I also want to just caution here, okay? So I went back and watched the Oklahoma State defense before that game. And this was after I did the pod last week. That group's not good. I don't know what – it's hit or miss. And that's kind of what it was in this game. You either had a running back get 8 yards downfield with nobody in sight or get hit 2 yards in the backfield. Like that's the kind of coin flip stuff we were dealing with in this game. But that offense is going to be able to rip and be able to go and going to be a problem for a lot of teams that they're playing in the future. Arizona State 30, Mississippi State 23. Similar to Jackson Arnold, when the quarterback's feeling it and he's in rhythm and the timing is there, boom, 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 like he can go. Coleman can be a guy that can go make plays. You got Kelly Akari back. Didn't do a ton, but he's back, so he'll help make a difference. Offensive line, shaky in this game. And the reality is you made it too easy on Arizona State by not forcing them to at least put the football in the air some to have to go win this football game. They dominated on the ground. I think the fewest yards passing in a win in Arizona State football history or something crazy like that. So this was one that I will say this. We'll give Jeff and his guys a ton of credit for battling late and crawling back into that game. And you do that with playmakers, and you do that with guys that have leadership and guys that have some intestinal fortitude. But why it got out of hand a little bit early, those kind of things cannot continue. Like you can't give the ball away. You can't allow people to run down your throat. I knew the D-line wasn't going to be heavy-handed. I knew they weren't going to be like super big, thick, and physical. But like that's what we saw in this game is unacceptable. Taking yourself out of plays and listen, Colton's going to have to move them. I get that. They're going to have to do different, but you run a run stunt, you got to have a replacer. And he's got to be there or else that gap's going to be wide open. And linebackers have got to fill, and they got to know when to fill and where to fill. Game one, it looked like they had that, and it was good. Got to keep contained and can't let somebody just get to the outside and have X amount of yards free to just go run. So disappointing loss. I thought they would be more sound than what they showed in this game. But, either way, it's when you're giving up that kind of – when the clock is dominated by one team and your offense is just going to be limited with opportunities, there's only so much you're going to be able to do. And it put the offense in a bad spot. I think it put the coaching staff in a bad spot. Now you look at that schedule and say, all right, how do we get to 6? Like, we're going to have to really figure some things out. But let's just kind of take all of this as it's week 2. Okay? We don't know exactly where some of this stuff is. We don't know exactly some of this stuff's going to be. But I do think a lot of these teams that we're down on and a lot of these individuals we're mad at, quarterback situation, Florida, Auburn, Kentucky, some of them are going to have to change. There's no doubt. And some of them will change. But I don't think everything's panic mode change at all right now. I think some of it can still be wait and see and could end up being a little bit different than it appears right now. It's still early. There's so much that we don't know about a lot of these teams. And there's probably some things we feel really good about with some of these teams that just haven't been tested yet. And it's not going to be that great. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Listen, there's a lot of games. I don't like to go over an hour, but I like to try to let you guys know what I saw and what I liked on the film. I did get through all the games late last night. I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't blast through a couple of them around 11:30 or midnight, because I had to get to bed, because I had a 6:30 flight out of Oklahoma City driving from Norman after doing a night game, and missed my connection in Dallas on the way to Oklahoma City. Travel has not been great through 2 weeks. We've had 3 delays, a missed connection, and a game that was delayed 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's all, just through 2 weeks. No big deal. So we will be back next week, and I want to tell you guys about the Better Business Bureau of Alabama. Listen, these guys are incredible. If you want more traffic to your business, you need to go to bbb.org, put in your zip code, Better Business Bureau of Central Alabama. Let them see what they can do for your business, because I know they're going to be able to help it. Digitally, they can drive more people to your business. If you're thinking about like a digital billboard, they can potentially help you with that. If you're thinking about different ways that you want to advertise, a lot of different ways that they can help you there as well. Better Business Bureau, identified as the best resource for finding trustworthy business. BBB.org's large online directory enables consumers to easily find local, reliable businesses and adds peace of mind to your purchasing decisions. Read customer reviews, see photos, find contact information, and more on local businesses here in Alabama or anywhere in the U.S. Whether you're a consumer looking for a reputable organization to do business with, or a business owner looking to build trust among your consumers, BBB is here to help you. Be sure to check it out at bbb.org. Better Business Bureau of Alabama can help you. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week.